Welcome back to another week here on Instigating with Clarkey and Drury. Ryan Drury, Chris Clark. Very pleased to be joined by our good friend, longtime pro golfer and of the Ian Doig Golf Academy, our buddy Ian Doig. Doigie, obviously we've got our golf expert on. Something must be going on in the world of golf.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on?
There was a little announcement yesterday. It wasn't that big, I mean, there's a little bit of banter going back and forth with some guys. I don't know what it's all about.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like this announcement with LIV and PGA Tour came out of nowhere. I mean, you predicted, I think, on the show that it was going to happen, but next year. But nobody saw this coming. Nobody.
Except for the five guys that were in the room. Jay Monahan.
Which is crazy.
Jerry Dunn and a couple other people. But yeah, out of left field, out of nowhere. Like you just said, I think probably 2 months ago, I predicted that there would be some kind of a merger or an agreement, but I thought it was at least a year away, maybe even 2 years away. This is just, it actually, it was you, Clarkey, that let me know. You sent me a text and with the announcement. I was busy doing something and I was like floored by it. Absolutely floored. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
I don't think that's what you said. What was part of it.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's bizarre. If you don't know what we're talking about, and by the time the show airs on Friday this week, I don't know how you won't have heard about this if you're paying attention to the sports world. The PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and the PIF, which is the private investment fund of the Saudi Arabian government, essentially, and ruling family there, they have all come to agreement on what Jay Monahan is calling a loose framework of an agreement to partner up and work together. Now, LIV is still its own standalone league. There's no partnership with LIV, but there is one with the PIF, which is the investment fund that owns and launched LIV, with Greg Norman, of course, as the face and figurehead of it. At least he was back then. Doigie, you just said it. This came out of nowhere. Everyone kind of had a feeling, like you said, and like you predicted on this very show, that something would eventually fall into place. But this literally dropped like a bombshell out of nowhere on the players. And gauging what I'm reading from interviews with Rory, basically everybody who's prepping to play the Canadian Open as we record this on Wednesday, June 7th, everyone was floored and completely taken aback by this. No one was consulted outside of a few people involved here. If you're a player right now on tour, Doigie, how would you be feeling about the way this all went down?
Not very happy. And that's kind of the consensus. I have reached out to a couple guys and they're pissed, and rightfully so. I do find it a little bit funny. A lot of guys have talked about that they found out about it on Twitter, and that may be the case, but it wasn't like there wasn't an email sent out. David Frost from the Champions Tour, so he would get all the information. He posted on his social media platform today that I saw that he read it in an email from Jay Monahan first thing in the morning. So he was aware of it before he ever saw it on Twitter. So that tells me that maybe a lot of guys weren't looking at their emails in the morning and they just went to Twitter and that's where they heard about it and saw it. But regardless of how they got the information, they've got to be pissed, because this is a 180-degree turnaround in a matter of weeks, right? Like Jay Monahan weeks ago said that this would never happen. And here we are. He said 7 weeks it's been in the works, but big change, and the players are caught off guard by it all, and they don't know what to expect. And it's a loose framework. So what does that mean? Like, where are they going forward? Like that's a big question for me. I mean, I've looked at the interviews today. I've read a lot today, but the question is, where are they actually going? That's my big question.
Yeah, it's very interesting how this is all going to shake down. There's so much we can dive into, but like as you mentioned, some players are pissed. There's like Rory, like guys like that who turned down hundreds of millions of dollars, and now all of a sudden it seems like loosely on the outside that this is all going to come together at some point where Phil's making what did he sign for? Like 200 million or whatever?
200 million.
Yeah. And Rory's sitting back saying, well, now what's going on? It almost seems that they were very quick to say that this ends all litigation. It had to be the lawyers getting together and saying, you guys got to work this out or it's going to cost you billions. Don't you think?
Yeah, so I want to jump on that because, again, just my opinion. I'm not in that room, so I don't know exactly what's going on. But the fact that the agreement has come together and they say it has ended all litigation, my opinion and my thought on it is that the lawyers for the PGA Tour have come to Jay Monahan and the board of directors and have said to them, look at guys, you're going to lose this battle. And not only are you going to lose the battle, you're going to spend millions fighting the battle only to lose it down the road. I believe that there's also some things that have happened over the years with the PGA Tour that the PGA Tour doesn't want to be in the public domain. They would be embarrassed by it. And if it came out, which it would come out during litigation, this is part of the reason why they've had to come to an agreement. That's just my opinion.
No, but having said that, what do you think would be embarrassing? Like, what is it?
Well, there's different things. There's been favoritism over the years. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, over the years, certain players, I won't name names, but would get preferential tee times. They didn't want to fly in until Thursday morning and play Thursday afternoon, Friday. And then if they missed the cut, they're out of town. So cut back on expenses and costs and things like that. There's a player right now. Now, this is a Champions Tour, not the PGA Tour, but there's a player right now on the Champions Tour. And I'm more connected to that now because of my age. But we're allowed up to 6 exemptions a year on the Champions Tour. Well, this player has played 16 tournaments in the last 2 years. He's a non-exempt player, but he keeps getting into the tournaments. And part of the reason is that he's related to one of the best players in the country. You know who I'm talking about. You and I have had the conversation, Clarkey.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating, but there's favoritism there. And if the favoritism is that blatant on that level that we can see it, what's happening behind closed doors? That's my question, right? And then you start to look at how much money is in their bank accounts for a nonprofit organization, all kinds of things. Like I just think that there was some stuff going on that they don't want the public to be aware of. And so let's come to an agreement and move on. And to think that they're going from a not-for-profit organization to a for-profit LLC, like how many billions of dollars are involved here? Like it's got to be mind-boggling. And where's the money going, and who's getting it all? I don't think Jay Monahan will last through next week. I'd be surprised if he lasts till Friday.
Really,
well, the players certainly seem pissed. That's for sure.
That was my next question to you, Doigie, because there was a lot of talk. I've been listening, obviously, to a lot of sports talk radio over the last number of hours. And a lot of people seem to be of the opinion that somewhere in the framework of this deal, he must have some sort of protection built in where he can be involved in whatever this is going forward. But you seem to think otherwise. And I mean, I'm sure that the players feel that way too, because, I was listening to an interview with Mackenzie Hughes, and Mac was saying, basically they asked him, the Overdrive guys, you were in the room with Jay and all the other players. What was the meeting like? And he said, I've never been in a more tense room in my life. Like, guys are really, really mad. Chiefly among them, like you pointed out, Clarkey, would be Rory, because Rory, not only did he turn down $500-600 million to join the LIV Tour that the PIF runs, he went out there and basically fell on the sword for Jay Monahan in the PGA and defended the tour and said, I'll never abandon this tour. It's not right. He said today, as we record this, I still hate LIV. I want nothing to do with them. Like, this guy went out there and absolutely took bullets for Jay Monahan in this tour. And now it all means nothing, Doigie.
Yeah. And that's why they're pissed. And so that's a Rory McIlroy. So how does the guy that's 125th on the money list, barely keeping his card, right? And now all of a sudden, all the guys that defected over to the LIV Tour are going to start coming back. Where does he go? He's got no place to play now because he's going to lose his card because they can only accommodate so many people. So he's going to be pissed. How do you compensate him? Right? Do you say, okay, we're going to give you exempt status for 2 years and see what you can do with it? Or we're going to give you $1 million to go away and shut up? Like, what do they do with that guy? I don't know, right? Let's take a young Canadian kid like Michael Glick, who's really struggling this year. He's made $100,000. So what do you say to him now? You say, okay, 2024, Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson, Cam Smith, and all those guys are coming back. Sorry, Michael, you don't have a job anymore?
Is there a union? Because I've heard the word union in the last day or so.
There's been talk about starting a union.
Yeah.
Well, right? I mean, at this point now, who would be surprised, right? And I wonder too. Look, I know a lot of sports fans don't want to have this conversation, but we have to now, whether you like it or not. And we talked about it when LIV first launched, Doigie. Obviously, when the Saudis get involved, I'm sorry, like, it's a touchy subject for a lot of people, and for very good reason. We are talking about a regime of people that killed Jamal Khashoggi. They killed that guy. They have a horrific human rights record. I mean, women just don't matter over there. Like, there's a laundry list of things. And again, I want to say, I know a lot of people that watch sports don't want to have these conversations, but unfortunately, it's at the forefront now. And Jay Monahan is to blame for that in a way, because Doigie, not a year ago, he went on a emotionally fueled tirade with Jimmy Nantz about how none of the players that play on LIV will ever be welcomed back to PGA events outside of course, the majors, which are run by their own organizations. That's why they can play. We're never going to let these guys come back. And he took this big moral high ground about how someone
he suspended them.
Well, someone asked him today, because Jim Nantz asked him about this, about the Saudi involvement and the whole 9/11 thing.
Yeah,
obviously. And Jim Nantz went on this emotional, epithet about, obviously we think it's wrong. And how would we turn around and say to the families that suffered because of 9/11 that we're involved with people like this? Not a year later, he's doing backroom deals with these people, and someone, we got to, Clarkey, we got to get some of these golf pool reporters into an NHL press conference, because somebody actually had the balls to point right at Jay and say, you said this not a year ago, Jay. What do you say to these people now? And he said, well, times have changed. It's a different environment. Jay, it's not been a year. Like, you can't take this teary-eyed moral nonsense high ground with Jim Nantz and then not a year later do this secret backroom deal with no one's knowledge and then walk that back. Like, how's this guy looks like a disingenuous snake, Doigie?
I agree full-heartedly. Now, let's look at the human rights is atrocious, but if we started to look at every country with bad human rights, we could look at China. And
you're right. You're right.
Right. So that, you know what, I'm not happy about all that stuff either. But if we looked at every country, there'd be an awful lot of countries out there that would be in that same pool. Okay.
A lot of people don't think Russians should be in the NHL right now.
Well, yeah.
So frankly,
exactly. So let's look at the 911 thing too. Like, I get that the union of the United Families 911 thing, they've put out a press release and everything else, but
yes,
unless we have proof, 100% proof that the investment fund of Saudi Arabia financed that 9/11 attack, that I don't know that we can really go down that path. And the reason I say that is, if we had proof, look at the United States went and killed Osama bin Laden, and they went and killed, the other guy and stuff. So if they had proof that this investment fund guy had written a check to Al Qaeda to do the attack on 9/11, why would they not have killed him?
I guess for sure. And that's valid. I guess my point is that Jay Monahan went out of his way to talk about it and make it a point of why, the PGA Tour would never get involved with this type of situation. And then he's, caught with his pants down, essentially, not a year later. And someone's like, well, Jay, but you said that this would never be a thing that you'd entertain. It was a wild exchange. Kyle Porter of CBS tweeted out, if you believe that today was a win for LIV, you're missing the point. LIV, it seems, never truly mattered. It was a pawn for Yasser and the PIF to get what they actually wanted, which is investment and influence in a real business. Everyone got played a little, but I think Yasser got played the least of all and was probably running the game. What do you make of that, Doigie?
I think that's probably pretty accurate, right there.
Do you think LIV exists in a year?
No, not at all.
What happens to all that money then that these guys signed for?
Well, okay, so if they leave, so their contracts, from what I understand, are over Dustin got whatever he got, $200-300 million, whatever he got, is over a prorated period of time. He got a lot of it up front.
Right.
But if he left the tour early, he didn't get the rest of it, and so on. So if LIV folds inside the next year, then that money that he hasn't got, he just won't get. But here's the thing, because the investment fund is now funding essentially the PGA Tour, the purses are going to go up like crazy again. So they've already got the designated events at $20 million. Next year, how many events are they going to have at $20 million? The only way it makes sense to be able to do this is if all events have $20 million purses, because if you have 10 or 12 tournaments at 20 million and the rest of them are down at 8 million or 10 million or whatever, none of the big names are going to play in them. And if none of the big names are playing in those tournaments, so if you got 12 designated or 15 designated events, you now have 30 or 35 non-designated events. You might as well be playing in a local event at your club on the weekend, because that's what it's going to feel like. No big name's going to play in it. Who's going to watch that event? Not only who's going to watch it, but who's going to sponsor it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, is RBC going to continue to give all this money that they do to the Hilton Head tournament, to the Canadian Open, and to all the players that they sponsor on the tour, if they're not getting the value from it? And if they're a non-designated event, the value is not going to be there. So why would they keep putting up the money? That's my question.
It keeps coming back to me, like everything you've talked about the litigation and the money. Like that's obviously what it was about. Like, there's no question about it, whatever way you want to look at it. What was the litigation about, Doigie? What like the PGA, like as Ryan said, like LIV was like a non-entity. Like, I never watched one LIV golf tournament. I didn't
watch a second of it.
I didn't watch a second of it. I didn't care. It was like these guys, like I saw highlights of Phil on the course with his shorts on and laughing and carrying on. It's like he didn't care. He's got his $100 million in his pocket. He doesn't care. So what was the PGA? What was all the litigation about? And I don't know. It just seems on the surface again that they should have just waited it out and just dropped all litigation anyway.
Yeah, I think part of the litigation comes from the fact, and I actually meant to, because I was running late tonight, I didn't get it, but I'll look here in my pile. I was going to get my form that I sign when I join every year, join the PGA Tour through PGA Tour Canada. So I think some of the litigation, not all of it, but some of the litigation stemmed from the fact that when Phil was still part of the PGA Tour and he was sponsored by KPMG, he had a guy at KPMG do an evaluation of what of using Phil's image was worth to the PGA Tour from 1993 to 2020. And the number that came back was somewhere in the neighborhood of $80 to $100 million, which Phil got none of. So when the PGA Tour was walking in to negotiate with RBC or with Honda or Buick or whomever they were negotiating with to sponsor a tournament, they would use Tiger and Phil and Rory and those players and say, you know what, we'll guarantee that these players are going to be there for your tournament and you're going to get this much value out of it. And therefore you're going to get this much TV coverage and this much airtime and blah, blah, blah. And it's worth this much money to you. So you sponsor us, sponsor the event. Away we go. Phil believes that if they're using his image and his stuff that he's done on the PGA Tour to promote the PGA Tour, there's a value to him and he should get that. And I agree with him.
I agree with him too. If I was PGA, I would have just said, screw it. Then I'm like, I get it. It's all about money. But I would have I don't know.
So I know, but it goes back to the money. So here's a situation. Mackenzie Hughes, we already talked about Mackenzie. In the RBC Canadian Open, yes, last year or the year before, I don't know exactly what year it was, but they put a goalie net out there 275 yards in the fairway, and they had him hit a drive, and the theory was, hit it in the net and score a goal. Well, he hit his tee shot, and he flew it out, and it hit the crossbar and tinged and went off into space somewhere and everything, and they've got it on video and everything. And Mackenzie Hughes does not have the right to post that on his social media. He has to go to the PGA Tour and apply to them to have the right to put that on his social media. It's him hitting the shot. It's all about him. But the PGA Tour doesn't allow him to do that without getting permission. And that's what Phil was ticked off about.
Hence a union.
And hence that's why they would look at unionizing. Absolutely.
So is it okay, Ryan?
No, yeah, go ahead.
So two different tours look like they're colliding. Do you think we're going to see anything different with the way the PGA Tour looks today that it will look in a year? Will they go to 3 rounds instead of 4? Will they allow shorts? Will they, what do you think?
I don't think they'll ever go to 3 rounds. I mean, part of the talk in the meeting and part of the talk that's come out since then is that keeping the tour as close to what it is now going forward is kind of what they want. But that said, I mean, they've already started to go to shorter fields for the bigger events, getting the big name players in, which really makes me laugh because they did nothing but make fun of LIV in their 48 player field and their 54 hole format. But now they actually have tournaments where there's only 50 people in it with no cut. Yes, they play 72 holes, but there's no cut and they get world ranking points. But a field that has 48 players in it and 54 hole tournament doesn't get ranking points, right? To me, it doesn't make any sense. Why was LIV not getting ranking points? They should have been getting ranking points. If you look at Tiger Woods hosts a tournament every year, the Tiger Woods Shootout or whatever it's called, and they get ranking points in that tournament, and it's an invite by Tiger. So how can they get ranking points and LIV can't get ranking points? It just doesn't make any sense.
Because Tiger's their guy, right? Like he's their guy, so they're going to show, like you said earlier, Doigie, that favoritism, that backroom favoritism. Of course, they're going to give points for Tiger's Invitational,
right? Exactly, and that's part of the problem. So the haves get what they want, and the have-nots struggle. I mean, Rory said it today. I mean, he came out and said, look, I don't know what it's like to be that guy near the bottom of the money list because I've never been there. He's never had to deal with, geez, am I going to have a job next year? Because he's always had that job, right? And you've heard over the past year or year and a half, they talk about, I heard this all the time. They would say, well, the LIV guys left for that upfront money. Well, do you think that Tiger and Rory didn't get upfront money from Nike when they signed their contracts?
God,
upfront money. It just wasn't from the Saudi Arabians. It was from Nike, who has all their stuff made in China, right? Like,
and worse places than that over the years,
right? Exactly, right. But it's okay for them to take $200 million up front from Nike. But it's not okay for Phil to take $200 million from Saudi Arabia Investment Fund or whatever the hell it's called.
It's a completely valid point, right? On that note, then, Doigie, where you kind of key in on the haves and have-nots here. What do you foresee? Because we've heard an awful lot of pandering over the last 24 hours. For the betterment of golf, the betterment of the sport, the betterment. Will this agreement now look? The Saudi Arabians are involved. We know there's no shortage of money. I mean, they're sitting on upwards of $65 billion. Like they have no shortage of cash, and cash is king. We get that. Do you foresee this coming together of these entities actually bettering the game and making things more accessible, more quote unquote even playing field? What does this all mean in terms of actual tangible answers that Jay Monahan can't give us right now about the betterment of the sport? How does this make golf better?
I'm not sure how it makes golf better. What it does do is it makes for lack of a better term, the bottom feeders, the guys that are at the bottom of that money list, it gives them an opportunity to make more money. So right now I'm looking at, and I'll go to Michael Glick because he's a friend of mine and he's a great kid. He's a Canadian. I love the kid. He's struggling right now. Right now he's making he's made $95,000 this year on the PGA Tour. What's the lowest salary in the NHL for a first year player? $700,000. $750,000. Right? How does a kid that's 20 or 21 years old that gets his PGA Tour card, how is he not guaranteed $750,000 to $1 million to go out and apply his trade? He's part of the entertainment package that is what it is, the PGA Tour, right? So he's there on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, just like everybody else is, and maybe he misses the cut, but why shouldn't he get paid for his time, right? So that's part of what I see. It's about making it fair for the bottom guys. They're gonna make more money. The top guys are gonna make more money, but is it gonna make golf better? How does making more money make golf better? Right? And how does
I don't know.
Does Rory McIlroy making another $200 million make golf better for Joe Blow that's playing at my golf course down the street right now? It doesn't. It doesn't. If anything, it might give him more animosity towards this kid. Oh, this guy's hits a golf ball around the golf course 4 days a week and is making $100 million. Why the hell should I watch him?
Yeah, it's a very valid question for sure. I don't know. There's going to be a lot to, fall out of the cracks. The reporters are going to be on it. Jay Monahan, I I agree with you, Doigie. I just can't foresee the players standing for having this guy, mostly because of the way that this all went down. He was very not forthright based on what I've heard from every player interviewed, including Rory, who is the biggest player in the game right now. When you've got guys like that coming out and saying, look, we don't trust this guy. I think that he's on a very short leash that's starting to run out of material. And I hope you're right, Doigie. I hope that guys start getting treated a little more fairly and they make it a little more sustainable for guys to actually pursue and chase this career, because it's not right the way the money is doled out in this sport. It just isn't. All right.
I was going to look up here on the phone during break, but one of the things that I want to touch on is, okay, all of a sudden we're talking not millions of dollars, we're talking billions of dollars that are floating around in the air right now. And where's that money going? What's it going to do and everything? How come? So one of the things that they used to talk about was the PGA Tour was a monopoly, right? And that's why LIV came along, was because the PGA Tour had everything. Well, you know what? They really do have everything now, don't they? Because they've got the DP World Tour, they got the PGA Tour, they got the Champions Tour, they've got essentially what LIV was, right? They've got the Canadian Tour and the South American Tour and everything. But why is none of that money filtering down to those tours? Why is it that the leading money winner on the Canadian Tour last year made less than $100,000, right? When you start to look at the numbers and their expenses are just the same as the guys on the PGA Tour, right? And they have to pay for their caddy and their hotel and their food and everything else. And their entry fees are bigger into the tournaments. And the sponsors are putting up the money, but they're playing for nothing in the big scheme of things. 100,000 Canadian dollars or 150,000 Canadian dollars. It doesn't make any sense. Why aren't they playing for $1 million a week on the Canadian Tour?
Well, it better change with all this money now. That's kind of what I mean when I say I agree with, the lower end guys. They better actually make this better for golf. I hope they do, because this bloody money better not be flowing into the pockets of people like Jay Monahan, because I've had just about enough of that guy. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we will talk real golf. We'll talk about golf, on the course action, Canadian Open week. It's very exciting. Oakdale, everybody's eyes are going to be on it. It's hopefully going to be fun. Hopefully we see some good golf this week, because my God, do we ever need to just get back to watching some golf after what we've been through this week. We'll talk about that next here on Instigating. Back here on Instigating with Clarkey and Drury, Ryan Drury, Chris Clark, and still joined by our good buddy Ian Doig, longtime pro golfer and of the Ian Doig Golf Academy. And gentlemen, it's time. Like we mentioned, we're recording this on Wednesday, June 7th, the evening before the Canadian Open. It's going to be great at Oakdale. I'm very excited for this tournament. It's picks time. Now I won.
You won. We know you won.
I'm on the last
second. Ian came in second.
Quite a margin. Okay, so...
Well, no, see, Ian, it wasn't quite a margin, was it?
Well,
it was
still pretty
not
bad.
Really.
Yeah.
Not really, because you counted all four scores.
Don't say you. When you say you, you got to specify producer Adam. We're calling him out.
Producer Adam, you counted all four scores, and we were supposed to be throwing one out.
That's
so
right.
it became a lot closer, but
it was closer.
I still won, and that's all.
Ryan
that
still
matters.
won. That's right. That's right.
I'll reference one of my favorite movie lines of all time, the great Vin Diesel, Fast and the Furious 1, the only good one. It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
If you ain't first,
you're last.
You're
baby.
last.
That's right.
Okay, so if you won, are you going to pick first? I'm
going to pick last. I'm going to pick
then
last.
I get to pick first then, because I lost.
Yes, you do.
That's the only fair thing to do.
And we'll
but
do
you
the
lose
same.
Most times, Clarkey.
That's not true. That is not true.
Well, you couldn't win your little
I won the one before
challenge, could you?
Or the one before that. Yeah.
We'll do the same thing we always do. We'll do a classic 4-pack. Clarkey, you'll get it started. Doigie will go in the middle, and then I'll do a double pick, and we'll snake like that.
Here we go. First pick Oh, yes. Canada, Corey Connors. First pick. Wow. He's going to do it. He's going to do it for the first time in how many years?
1954.
It's longer than the Leaf drought.
Wow.
But Corey Connors will be the first.
Fletcher won in 1954 at Point Grey Golf Club in Vancouver.
I'm so ready.
There we go.
Corey
Connors currently tied for the 5th best odds to win at plus 2,000. He is Clarkey's first pick. Doigie, someone's going for a three-peat. There's lots of other good players here. What would you like to pick?
Man, I honestly, I haven't studied the field very well this week.
Man. You're the second pick
here. I'm looking at a list that isn't even really helping me out too much. I'm going to pick Matt Fitzpatrick.
Oh, you took one of my guys, man. I love Matty Skechers.
That's one of his go-tos.
Okay, Matty Skechers is off the board. Since I have 2 picks in a row here, I gotta take Rory. He's the 2-time defending champion, going for a three-peat, and that doesn't happen very often, so I don't love my odds, but since he's sitting here at 3, I kind of have to take Rory. He's the favorite at plus 500 if you want to lay some cheddar down.
Brian, he's gonna play like shit. He's so pissed at
I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
Well this week.
But anyway,
that's the thing. Here's the thing. That's either going to happen or he's going to play the best golf of his life.
I don't think
you never know.
He already wants to be on his plane and getting out of town. He's
I agree with you.
Off at Monahan right now.
I don't know. Don't you dare disparage my friend Rory McIlroy. I will take him, and with my second pick to send the snake back the other way, you took my guy Matty Skechers. I will take Cameron Young. Back to Doigie.
That's what I was going to take.
Oh, well.
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
Adam, I hope you're writing all these down. Producer Adam.
So you took Rory and Cameron, right?
Yeah.
Cam Young and Rory, yes.
All right.
There's still 142 guys available.
Yeah, I see that. I'm going to take Sam Burns.
I like that. Sammy Burns off the docket. Clarkey for back-to-backs.
Back-to-backs. Here we go. You guys, you're gonna figure out a little pattern in my picks here.
Am I?
We are going Nikki Taylor.
Wow.
And he's going to pick all the Canadians.
And Taylor Pendrith.
He is. Clarkey is going full. You're putting all your faith in the Great White North. I got to tell you what, I think they're terrible picks in terms of winning this pick off, but I like the Canadian enthusiasm. I really like it.
Doigie, back to Doigie. You. Third pick.
You know what? I mean, honestly, Clarkey, I kind of like that you're really jumping on the bandwagon for the Canadians and everything.
Don't take one. I got some more to
do it.
But let's be honest here. No Canadian has won in damn near 100 years.
I know. This is the year.
No, we've been saying that since 1954. That said,
you don't think a Canadian.
That's this one's really. You guys are going to go look at me like, what is Doigie thinking here? I'm going with a kid by the name of Eric Cole.
Oh,
I thought he played for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Back in the day. I actually kind of like that pick. He's a sneaky good player. Like, he underrated, doesn't get a lot of plaudits. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So I'll finish off my picks with my second of back-to-backs. I will take a guy. I just love watching this guy play golf because he really looks like he enjoys playing golf, whether he's playing well, whether he's playing poorly. He just looks like he's having fun out there, and I respect that. I really like Shane Lowry. I just love watching that dude slash it around, and every now and again, he catches a heater and plays some really, really good golf. And another young guy that I love watching this kid play too. Fell in love with him when I watched Full Swing. He's going to come good eventually and win a tournament. I love Sahith Theegala. And that will end my picks.
That's a good pick. I was kind of looking at him a little bit. I was
Thank
like,
you,
you
sir.
know what? And he played well last year in the Canadian Open.
Yes, he did.
Right? So, that's a pretty good pick. But I think, it's probably not going to make Clarkey very happy. So, who are your two? You got Rory, you got Young, you got Sahith.
And Shane Lowry.
And Lowry, okay. And Lowry. All right. So my fourth and final pick, I'm not sure he's going to win, but I think he's going to play really well.
That's all you need.
I'm going to go with Adam Hadwin.
I like that a lot. Clarkey is dejected.
Like you just said, no Canadian's going to win.
Clarkey,
you just said it. And didn't Adam Hadwin, didn't he just get roasted by his wife on Twitter too for missing the cut at the Memorial?
Now listen though,
roasted.
Doigie's got a deep team here. He doesn't need Hadwin to win. He just needs him to not miss the cut and count toward a low score.
Doesn't matter. Right? I have
Clarkey,
Mackenzie Hughes.
There he is. Wow, you went all Canada. I really respect the play, but
dude, you know what? Here's my theory. I agree with what something Doigie said, which was Rory may be pissed and might just miss the cut. I think a lot of these guys are, but who won't be? Who won't be? Of all the players in the field, who are the guys that are still going to give their 100%? You can't give 110. All the Canadians. Yeah, that's my theory, and that's why I picked 4 Canadians. And we'll see on Monday.
Yeah. Don't tell Sunday, the Leafs that you can't give 110. I understand. However, you are going after one of the best players of all time in Rory. You think that a little bit of a temper tantrum is going to throw this guy wildly off his game? I don't know.
Well, you know what? It's not just that. I mean, he's coming off of last week where he folded like a cheap tent coming in.
There you go.
He had the lead going into Sunday and lost to Victor Hovland, and even Jack said to him, "You know what, Rory? We need to talk. Something's going on." My personal opinion, I love Rory as a golfer. There's no doubt. I'm not happy with a lot of the stuff that he said in the last year, and he's kind of backtracking a little bit now with this merger, loosely termed a merger, and everything else.
Yeah,
but I look at Rory. Okay, and this is my take on Rory. He might be the most talented player in the history of the PGA Tour.
Mm-hmm.
He has not played to his potential win-wise.
No, he hasn't.
Since he put his buddy on the bag as his caddy.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't won a major with his buddy on the bag. He won all his majors with the PGA Tour proven caddy on the bag. And now he's got his buddy caddying for him, and he hasn't won anything. He's not closing the deal.
Ryan, do you want to recap the picks there?
I don't have them written down, but
okay, Rory, you picked. Yeah, who'd you pick? Rory, Cam Young.
I have Rory, Cam Young, Shane Lowry, Sahith Theegala.
Right, and Ian has Fitzpatrick, Sammy Burns, Eric Cole, Adam Hadwin. I have Corey Connors, Nick Taylor, Taylor Pendrith, and Mackenzie Hughes.
That's what it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, look at this. Our producer just sent it to us in a chat.
He's got it right in the chat. See, producer Adam,
he's on top of it.
We gave him a little barb earlier, but he always comes through in the end. He always comes through in the end.
Now, let's remember, top 3, and you have to have 3 guys make the cut, or you are disqualified.
If 2 guys miss the cut, you're out. I won the last one, so we'll see how this one shakes out. I think Doigie and I both have good teams.
Thanks,
not
buddy.
that. Hey, and now like Clarkey, it's not like you picked bad golfers, but we're trying to win a pickoff here. I mean, you got none of the top. Hey, you know what, man? maybe some Canadian magic will finally, hey, when the dam breaks, it bursts, right? So maybe we'll have, 6 Canadians in the top 15 or something. Who knows? And you'll win. You don't need a guy to win. You just need the lowest cumulative score for our picks, Clarkey.
That's correct. We're not doing this money.
Don't need somebody
crap.
to knock the 1954 thing off.
I think we should do it.
We're not doing this. We're not arguing about the picks.
Well, hold on. If you bet on a racehorse, do you bet who finishes third?
But we're not doing that. It's not a pool. It's not a pool. We're not picking one guy. We're picking a team of guys.
Okay, so maybe next time we should just pick who we think's going to win.
Well, yeah, but then we would have to pick like 50 guys each.
That's generally what I do.
Yeah, that's generally what I do
think
too.
Will win.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk a bit about this tournament.
Producer Adam is on the ball tonight because he pointed out that you actually can pick a horse to finish third. That's place and show.
Right, place and show, but you're still betting. You're betting somebody to win at some point in time, right?
But you can bet. That's good. Yeah,
we're teaching everyone a lot about gambling right now. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about this tournament and Doigie. How unfortunate is this? And this is part of the storyline this week. 2 years in a row now, our Open, the Canadian Open, completely overshadowed by just an insane bombshell in terms of a news item. Last year, it was the LIV thing. And they, obviously documented that. Well, and now this year, it essentially is again, it's completely overshadowing what's going to be an incredible tournament at an incredible golf course. Doigie, you know so much about the game. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect and more importantly, what the players can expect at Oakdale this week.
Well, a couple of things. I know the rough is very long and very thick, so you better be driving the ball well. The greens are firm. We haven't had a lot of rain, so the PGA Tour has been able to set the golf course up the way they want, and they've done that. The fairways are firm and fast, which means the ball will run into the long rough if your angles aren't correct. And trying to control your ball out of the long rough like that into firm, fast greens. There's a lot of greens at Oakdale that are what we would call push-up greens, so they're a little higher at the back, and if you start getting the ball on the wrong side of the hole above the hole, it could be very dicey putting wise. I will be honest, I haven't played Oakdale in a while, and they're using a composite of the 27 holes, so I really probably can't even put together in my head exactly what the routing is or anything, but it's a good golf course. It'll be a good test. If the wind comes up, it will make a very good test, and I would suggest that somewhere around probably 10 to 12 under will win. If there's no wind this week, I would believe that somebody will get pretty close to 20 under for the 4 days.
Wow. Yeah. There you go.
You think they're concerned about, obviously in this Toronto area, we have some unfortunate air quality with the fires in Quebec going on.
Quebec, I hate Ontario, Manitoba.
No, I don't want to blame the Quebec.
Halifax. Geez,
we've seen baseball games be canceled. Is there a fear that this thing may not happen?
Well, no. The tournament will get played because.
Well, how can you not play baseball?
Well, no. What I'm going to say is, look, they can. If it gets so bad tomorrow that it's tough to play, they'll just kind of delay it almost like a rain delay and move into Friday and see what Friday's like. By the weekend, the smoke's supposed to move out and everything, and we're supposed to have some rain and other things happen. So, if they had to, it would have to be pretty severe, I would think, for them to cancel it or postpone it. But
I know here in Listowel yesterday.
Sure, it could happen. One of my things is, how's it going to affect the gate and the spectators that want to go? Myself, I have heart and lung issues. If it's as bad as they say it's going to be here in the Barrie area tomorrow, my lessons that I have booked for tomorrow will not get done. I won't be going outside.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on cue.
There you go.
Right on cue.
We're concerned about you, pal.
It's true.
It's
serious stuff.
Yeah.
It really is.
I don't know. I mean, I've played in tournaments where we got winded out. We got so windy you couldn't play because the ball would move on the greens, right? So, yeah, anything's possible. I would think that it would have to be pretty severe, though.
Yeah. My general understanding.
In Kingston yesterday, people weren't playing golf. You couldn't go outside in Kingston yesterday.
I know.
Yeah. My general understanding is they're predicting that it's going to clear up enough up here, and the whole situation down in New York was it. Based on what I've understood from people I've heard talking about it, that the cumulative build of smoke from a number of different sources because of the wind really like segregated there and gathered there rather in New York and caused like a really intense smoke out. And it's not supposed to be as severe as what we're seeing in New York this week at Oakdale. So hopefully they'll be able to play. But obviously, like you said, Clarkey, more importantly, man, there are a lot of people up here dealing with some wild stuff because of these fires.
So whether
we're thinking about them, man, geez.
Yeah. Weather being good. I've been offered a pass for Sunday. Should I go? What do you think?
Oh yeah. Why are you even asking us that? Yes, of course you should go.
Okay.
How'd you come upon that? Yeah, why wouldn't you go?
Well, I only have one pass. And I don't know, like I don't know if I would want to go by myself to something like that.
Well, but here, Clarkey, you're going to show up there and you're going to run into somebody. Gino's going to be there. Weeksy's going to be there.
Those guys are all credentialed. They're going to be in the posh suites. They won't be down with us.
Well, no, they'll come out to the lowly scrubs.
I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people there doing it. I don't think I'm going to run into anybody. Anyway,
yes, you will, Clark. You know so many people down there. Come on now.
You want to go?
Ask you to produce a show.
You want to go?
I can't go. I'm teaching all day tomorrow. I'm playing at Rattlesnake Point on Friday. I'm teaching Saturday, and I
wasn't asking you.
The last thing I want to do on Sunday is go watch somebody else play in the Canadian Open.
True. Same with me. Fair, same with me, man. I don't want to watch someone else play in the Canadian Open.
I've played in a few of them, and once you've played in them yourself and you've walked inside the ropes, watching somebody else hit golf balls out there, not much fun, to be honest with you.
Speaking of someone else, watching someone else hit golf balls and not being too much fun. Producer Adam, this is the time that you can probably put up that picture, because I had the distinct pleasure of playing with Mr. Doig last week here in Listowel, or 2 weeks ago, I guess. And it was a fun day, and watching Mr. Doig, what were you? You were even par, right?
I was even par. I made
one under. I made
16, one over. I made 16 pars, one birdie, and one bogey.
Yeah, one under in the front, one over on the back. Yeah. And he was grinding on 18. He wanted to birdie 18, but
and the bogey I made was on number 10, and I had a lost ball, so I actually birdied the hole with my second ball to make just the bogey. So
we're pretty sure someone stole the ball, but that's besides.
So now hold on just a sec before we move on, because before we end the show, we of course have to get Doigie's take on the whole Kyle Dubas thing. Will allow you to squeeze the Leafs into another episode that shouldn't be about them. But before we do that, what did you shoot?
More than that. So, but Doigie,
are we talking 90s?
Yes, you can attest for me. I showed signs of brilliance.
Actually, you showed a lot of signs of
second hole. What did I get?
Very, very good golf. I'm trying to remember the golf course. The second hole,
par 3. Or what was the first par 3? How was that?
Beautiful par 3, and he made 2. But let's back up a little bit. Let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
I played from about 190 yards, and I think Clarkey played from about 107.
You were one tee block behind me. I played the blues, which I'll usually play the whites, but I didn't feel like playing the whites in front of Doigie, so I played the blues. He played the golds or blacks or whatever it is, but it was
the real ones.
It was a nice day. No, not the real ones.
You know what, Clarkey, I see a lot of improvement. That you hit a lot of really good golf shots.
It was a lot up here.
there was a couple times where your caddy, me, helped you out with pulling 100%. The right club, and you hit good shots. So my take on that is we need to work on your mental capacity a little bit as well.
I've never heard so many times on a golf course, why did you swing like that?
Right. Which I did not offer.
I don't know.
Which I wasn't able to offer you because I can't play golf outside of the video game when I caddied for you. But I would like to point out that when I caddied for you at the Listowel Golf Course, you shot 87. So
I did. I know.
Am I a calming influence on you? Maybe you feel the pressure?
I probably played from the whites, which is a few strokes, but
I can't remember. I honestly can't remember.
I think he was. Ryan, I think he was feeling a little pressure playing with Doig did it that day.
It's okay. We're going to play again. We're going to play hopefully next week. So there you go.
Hopefully on Monday.
You can come and caddy.
You know what? I might bring another guy with
caddy
me if there's room.
Yeah, there probably
is. 100%.
Is he good?
He's about an 8 handicap. He was one of my longtime sponsors.
He's better than Clarkey then.
What does he do now?
Allowed to play.
Is he like
he's semi-retired. He's the condo I stay in Florida. It's his.
Perfect. It's the kind of guy I want to meet.
Absolutely. Speaking of people you want to meet, now I know, Clarkey, you said earlier that you can't give 110%. You actually can if you try really, really hard.
You can't.
And before we talk about the Leafs, let's talk about people that you should go and meet if you want to get 7,000%. 7,000% effort.
Wait a minute. 7,000 is a fun number.
It is.
Now, at Larry Hudson's,
you
can get $7,000 off in our dealer demo sale.
Hello.
Up to $7,000 off 23 demos, 0.99% financing on top of that on our 23 Turbo Maxes, 2.7 liter 4-cylinder turbos. That's what I drive. I love it. $7,000 off. Which
yes, he said 1,000, ladies and gentlemen, not 100.
The car market, that has not been happening. But right now, Larry Hudson's, Doigie, even you, will get 7,000 off if you come see this guy.
Wow. I was hoping I was going to do better than that.
Well, you can't do better than that because our
get my game under 80. You'll do better.
Hudson's has it. Yeah, get it under 80. We'll talk. Hudson's has it. 1,000 Wallace Avenue here in beautiful Listowel, Ontario. Go see our friends at Larry Hudson Chevrolet Buick GMC. All right, let's talk a little bit about this whole Kyle Dubas thing. Doigie, what did you think? Are you mad? Are you upset? Did you see this coming? What's your impression of the whole thing?
Well, I didn't see it coming, to be honest. I mean, every indication was that they were probably going to extend him, and
yes,
I would have been okay either way. I mean, I think he's learned. I think that over the years, he was so about analytics when he first got the job that he didn't even look at the character of the players. But in the last year or so, I think he started looking at more of the heart and the character and how the guy played as opposed to analytics. But I think it's an okay move. I think they needed to do something to shake things up. So him moving on and going to Pittsburgh and let him do whatever he wants to do in Pittsburgh, good for him. One of my concerns is Trey Living. I mean, look at why does the NHL regurgitate these guys all the time? They have a run for 2 or 3 years somewhere, and okay, maybe they had a good year or two, and then no, they're no good. We're going to fire them. They're no good for our team. We're going to fire them. But you go ahead and hire him. See how he does. And yes, Tkachuk wanted out of Calgary, but man, you just traded away one of the best players in the NHL. I'm not sure.
But at least they got something for him, Doigie.
Well, yeah, and I get that, but honestly, I you know what? If you want to build a hockey team, you say to that player, well, you know what? I'm going to keep you till your contract's over, and if you leave, you leave. But I want my team to win the Stanley Cup, and I just don't see it happening anytime soon. Simple as that.
We got to wait a year now.
It's not going to happen this year either. Even though my chair is already down for the parade and everything, but it's been there for invited. 50 years anyway.
You're off. You're off. Chuggy and I have the first row. You're in the back row, by the way. Yeah. And we should wish Ryan a happy Cup anniversary. Today was the day back when? How long ago?
4 years.
I can't believe you brought this up five years ago. I can't believe you actually brought this up. Yeah,
I had a memory today on Facebook. And it was a very nice memory. I thought, I was in actually a good mood that day.
Well, you know what?
I said, congrats, Caps. Congrats, Devo Smith-Pelly. Have fun, Ryan Drury and Nathan Marshall.
Yes, our buddy Nate. We that day 5 years ago on the day we're recording this, June 7th, my boys finally did the thing. It's funny you mentioned that. I actually have the championship shirt right here with the big cat on the back. Yes, that kicked off probably the funnest summer of my life.
I guess.
I couldn't believe it was real for about a week, and then I got it tattooed on my arm. So yes, happy Cupversary to all of Caps Nation who celebrates, I guess.
You know what, Ryan? I've got a Leaf jersey, Stanley Cup Leaf jersey, and it's got Keon on the back of it. That's how old that shirt is.
Well, of course.
Is it in color?
It's in black and white.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you, Doigie, because you dolled up your space. We do have to go right behind you there in that picture. Who is that there? Is that Billy Barilko?
It says on it who it is.
We have a guy
I can't read it.
This guy right here isn't bad. He might be the best hockey player that ever played the game.
Oh, that's Orr. Okay,
You can't read that?
No, I couldn't read it right behind him, but now that I kind of squint, I can see the picture of the jump, of course.
Man, you need some glasses.
Orr here, and I got this given to me by Mr. Orr. And then over here, I have this guy here wasn't bad, Mike Weir. So
maybe he'll win. Maybe he'll win. He's playing this weekend.
He is playing.
I could have picked him.
Is he playing?
I think he is.
I think he's playing, and I think he's like 120,000 to 1 or something to win.
Jump on him.
Maybe drop $1, man. Drop $1.
It's the Canadian Open. Why wouldn't
the golf course is going to be too long for him?
I think so too. Well, there you go.
Mike Weir, 121 tomorrow. There you go. He's playing with he's playing with Pendrith.
There you go. I just assumed that it was a Leaf behind you there, Doigie.
That might be worth going down to watch tomorrow, Clarkey.
I'm not going tomorrow.
Watch how far Taylor Pendrith hits it past Mike Weir. That might be worth the drive right then and on its own.
Yeah, we're a good 100 yards.
Why is there 6 tee times at 121? They go off the front and back?
Front and back, yeah.
Oh, so maybe he's not playing
here's something. You see that, guys? Now, this is my Leaf stuff here.
Okay, there you go. What do we got?
Here, we'll put this right here. So
a quick show and tell.
So Mr. Sittler gave those to me. They're both his. He signed this one to me, personalized to it. Daryl and I play in a charity event almost every year, and we have a lot of fun that day. So he always looks after me and brings me a stick. So
nice.
I've got
amazing, man. My mom's all-time favorite player, next to the big cat back here.
Yeah, and you know what? He's fun to play golf with too. He's a good guy.
I've heard he is. I've read his book. He's an all-time great dude. Yeah. All-time great dude. And so are you, Doigie.
We're giving Adam some time to edit. He's got to edit the show now, so he's going to take out all the stuff we ripped him on, probably.
Yeah,
that'll be all gone.
As he should.
We've gone over our time limit, have we?
Yeah, we have.
As a good producer should. Thanks to our friends at Larry Hudson Chevrolet Buick GMC. Thanks to our friends over at the Listowel Squash Courts. And
I won.
Thanks
week,
again, my friend. You won this week. Congrats to you. Congrats. Thanks. We'll have a Facebook memory about that in 5 years. That's great. You can watch this show every Friday night at 8, Sunday night.
Roll the credits
with our friends on Whiteman TV. That's channel 6 for Whiteman subscribers. We debut on our YouTube channel Friday nights at 9. Follow us on social media at Instigating Pod. Ryan Drury, Chris Clark, our buddy Ian Doig. We'll be back next week. I'll win again. I'll win more golf picks. Tune in next week. Instigating. We'll be back.
Thanks, guys.